For my next couple of ventures, I would like to try to encourage you to put magic in your fantasy role-playing games. Not magic items, not spells, but a sense of magic. And not over-the-top crazy stuff, but that sense of wonder and enchantment that you sometimes get in your own life. Permit me a few moments of your time to share some ideas with you. I wish I could put in a video or a photo at this time, but there are no records that I can find of this. However, on the first date with my wife, we went to Moore Square in downtown Raleigh. And while we were walking along the streets there, we came upon a giraffe playing the saxophone. He was part of a jazz band, and it was this audio animatronic jazz band. And I don't know why it was there. I think it was art or something. But to be walking down the old streets of Raleigh in a beautiful fall evening with a beautiful girl by my side and coming upon this giraffe playing a saxophone was a magical moment. It made me feel like anything could happen, that the world was magical. The world is magical. We just forget that sometime. Now, magical realism is the genre that tries to get us to remember that, to see magical elements of the ordinary. Films like Amelie and Edward Scissorhands and some of the Miyazaki movies are prime example of magical realism. It's there to kind of make you feel that the world is magical. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 9, a world of your own. This is the final core assumption. The world is magical. I would like to encourage you to put some elements of magical realism into your own world in order to make it feel more enchanted. Now, when you do this in a fantasy world, it actually also makes it feel more realistic. Okay, so you guys enter the Bear and Board Tavern and very quickly find a seat. It's busy in here, but it's not terribly crowded. Almost immediately, the barmaid bounds up to the table. She's got short red hair, and vibrant purple eyes that look at you with no fear at all. Probably she has less than a score of years to her name. "Oh, new adventures to town. May I recommend the oatmeal stout?" That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to bring any more attention to the color of her eyes. And if they ask, I'll say, "Oh yeah, they were purple," just like I might say, "Oh yeah, they were blue," or whatever color. And if they ask her, she might have a story behind it. Maybe that's a common color for the people of the area to have purple eyes. Or maybe she's special somehow because her mother had a spell on her, or they think that there's a djinn in their distant past, or something like that. And whereas things like that will happen all the time in a fantasy role-playing game, it would be no more unusual to your characters than it would to, say, in the real world, meet somebody who was a relative of Thomas Jefferson or was born in Chernobyl or something like that. These things just happen. A simple thing you can do is throw in fantasy creatures that aren't really monsters. They're just animals that are around, and while they're fantastic to you and me, they're ordinary to the characters and the NPCs. Think Avatar and the Turtle Ducks, or all the monsters that just kind of walk by in Star Wars that the main characters ignore because they're ordinary. Little details like that can really make it feel simultaneously real and magical. Maybe you come to a village where the local baker makes the most delicious cakes. She has that magical power to make the best tasting cakes ever. Or perhaps there's a bard that can cast summon songbirds. Or maybe there's a farmer that can cast locate turnip. These are their powers. What I'm suggesting is that there are individuals in the world who are zero level sorcerers, warlocks, and druids that have only one or two abilities, mostly cantrips. And they use these magical abilities in their everyday life. And for them, the adventure isn't going out and getting killed and eaten by some weird creature, but it's building a home, finding love, making the people around them more comfortable and more understood. And that's their abilities. And when you have characters like this, that might draw in the PCs a little bit more. You know, we've got to protect this village. It's got the girl that makes the magic cakes. These surreal elements could be directed at the PCs and may actually help with the plot as well. For example, you may have a town where all of the statues in the town will talk to one player character, but only when that PC is alone and there's no one else around to hear them. And maybe they will give help on some of the adventures, help with some of the quests, or maybe they'll send them on quests of their own. However, what's important to the statues may not be the same thing that's important to most adventurers.
Good sir, why are we looking for this comb again?
I already told you. The banister said it had sentimental value to the miller's mother. Just keep looking.
Alright. Never should have left the tower, but alright.
Well, when you put it like that, it does sound silly.
Now, these statues could be a weird form of Eidolon, or maybe the magic from some long dead mage, or maybe an extraplanar creature that has decided to communicate in this way. It doesn't matter, and as the DM, you don't really even have to ever tip your hand. You never even have to explain it. You don't even have to really know what it was yourself. But when you add elements like this, these surreal elements, they will make that area, that location stand out. And it will make those characters stand out. And done well, you can even have the players more interested in those characters and saving them not just for the experience and because it's the right thing to do, but because they actually have an emotional attachment to these characters that they are saving, this town that they are exploring. And these elements will also have your town stand out so that they will remember.
So that's magical realism. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about a sister idea with this. But in the meantime, happy adventuring.